Hi everybody, this is a light language transmission. This is a continuation of a series of transmissions, including art and card readings and light language. I'll put all the links in the description below so that you can follow that trail and watch those first if you wish to. But this is also part 2 of another reading I've done today, which is this transition from the peak of the lionsgate back out to the closing of the lionsgate. So it's integrating those codes that are coming through, making the changes in our physical life. And there is quite a lot of information about twin flame unity and co-creation, how that works from the higher dimensions, and how that is bridging as part of this process so that we can see that co-creation and unity in the material world in our day-to-day life. So this is the reading that goes with that. This is part 2. So these first cards here, the Saturn and the end mutable, these are all about what we're shifting away from. So this is how we were living prior to the lionsgate. These were the things that we were focused on. They were all important things. They were all useful. But it was quite stern. Like Saturn, regulator, is stern. It's authoritative. It's hierarchy, it's structure, and it's also karma. So this is the world card. So the world card means we've come to a completion. We have completed what we needed to do. We've graduated from karma that comes from other lifetimes, other dimensions, or ancestral karma, familial karma, cultural karma. We've worked through that. We've done the hard yards. We've worked really hard, and it's been tiring. And it's compressing because it's very much working on the masculine energies that I've been speaking about in the previous transmissions, which is coming from strategy, planning, mental capacity, logic, reasoning, structure, goals, plans, all very material world based. And then the card below that is the end, but flexibility. Mutable is flexible, so it's like mutable is when you're moving from one season to another. So particularly like Virgo and Pisces is as you're shifting in and out of spring and autumn, and Virgo, we're about to move into Virgo, so that's relevant in a minute. But mutable is the end of the season. Adept, connected, open-minded, wise, perfecting touch, which is relevant also to the part 1 of this. Editor, sees both sides, chameleon, deceptive, empathic, changeable, more info needed. So the maybe more info needed, it means, like we've ended a cycle, we've ended a season, we've ended karma. We've actually ended a timeline, and we're moving on to the next timeline. We're graduating to the next higher timeline. We're ascending. We're moving to the next level of ascension. And that's what this lion gate brings through, the opportunity to do that each year. So the maybe, I think, reflects the unknown. Like we don't know where we're going yet, because where we're going is guided by our higher consciousness, which is not in our mental mind. So we're having to learn right now how to unlearn everything from that other paradigm, that lower paradigm, and learn about the higher paradigm now. It's a whole different way of functioning. So there needs to be a transition phase, and what these cards are saying is that we are like the butterfly in the caterpillar that's gone into the chrysalis before it becomes the butterfly. So the caterpillar is earthbound, it functions on the earth plane. It doesn't know anything about the sky or the air. It knows about what it needs to eat and stay alive on the ground, and it can only go as far as it can physically crawl. And it only knows what it knows. It doesn't know what's out there that is not part of its immediate world. It goes into this chrysalis. It completely destructs. It actually liquefies, so it loses all its form and everything that it knows, and becomes a butterfly with wings, where it then is going to navigate a whole new world of the sky. So what I'm saying is that we're shifting out of that very mental, strategic, ego-based, individual-based. Ego is I am me, and it does everything to protect its me and its identity. We're completely shifting away from that identity. It's like a death. It's like you are dying. The you that you have known is dying. You're no longer living in that world of structure and hierarchy and authority, being told what to do. You're now shifting to a higher authority, which is your higher self. Your higher self that's informed by higher intelligence, that is all-knowing, that knows what you're here to do, what brings you joy. And it brings much more freedom and a more joyful kind of life, less restricted, more expanded, less compressed. And if you look at the spiral pattern around that Shambhala card in the middle, that matches part 1 that the twin flame sculpture was standing on and emanating that unified energy out from. So I also like how that is golden, like the flower that the butterfly is feeding off in the card next to it. So Shambhala, this is from the Gateway of Light Activation Oracle. I'll put all the links for the card decks down below as well. Plus links to my Etsy shop if anyone's interested in any of the creations. So Shambhala, retreating to recharge, trusting in the process, Dharma. So we move from karma to Dharma. And we're moving from controlling everything with our mind and structure and plans, the masculine energies, into the feminine energies of trusting the process, trusting your higher guidance, trusting your higher knowing, and really learning how to navigate and follow that in the material world. So I'll read you the card. Shambhala, also known as Shangri-La, is a city of light said to be hidden somewhere in the Himalayas near Tibet. According to theosophical teachings, the etheric retreat is where we can come into contact with some of the greatest spiritual adepts, enlightened teachers and divine masters to ever walk the earth. In Buddhism and Hinduism, Shambhala is said to be the home of the god Shiva and of Buddha, enlightened beings. And in the Bon tradition, every year thousands make a pilgrimage to Mount Kailash, the supposed location of the hidden city, as this is said to bring good fortune. We can visit the etheric retreat of Shambhala during the dream state, astral travel and meditation. If you feel it's calling you, or that the energies of this gateway seem familiar, you may have been there before. The golden temple of Shambhala sits in the heart of the Himalayas, between the physical and non-physical, and is said to appear to seekers who are ready to expand their awareness. It's the sacred, energetic temple of all enlightened masters, particularly those who are connected to the Eastern traditions. They form a great galactic and universal council of elders who support the turning of the wheel of Dharma. Dharma is a Sanskrit word that relates to the unfolding of our life's path. So we're moving away from clearing karma into stepping into our life's path, connected to higher consciousness and wisdom of the masters in the higher dimensions, and we are retreating and recharging. We're receiving information in our sleep. We're also going into, so the card below that is Virgo, and which is also the Hermit, which is retreat. I just love Spirit, how this just comes out perfectly. So the Hermit is a light holder. They have knowledge and wisdom, but they are solitary, and they hold a lantern, like the card above, and like in the Wolves of Venice at the end, there are all those lanterns around, which is their wisdom, their higher knowing, and they are still and solitary, like a sadhu in the caves in India, who are really connecting in everyday life, in their waking and their sleep, to that higher wisdom, that heart energy, and live their lives by that. And in that, they become also a beacon of light for others to follow. So those cards are very connected. And I love how the colours are similar as well. So the Virgo is analytical, hardworking, intelligent, conscientious, helpful, critical, picky, exacting, responsible. But in this case, those are the things we're shifting out, but we are doing them from a higher consciousness. So we're not being that way from our ego or a need for success in the material world or survival. It's coming through from higher wisdom, higher consciousness, connection to the wisdom of the masters, bridging, like in part one, down into the physical world. So it's inspired action. It's seeing things with the conscious mind. It's consciously helpful. Consciously seeing where things are not aligned, and doing the self-work to clear that up, especially what is not aligned to who I am and what my new path is, what's still in that old paradigm and what's in this new paradigm that I'm just learning to navigate. So moving on to the third column there, we've got the butterfly. So we've spoken about how we're in metamorphosis, need to embrace change. So we can't embrace change and evolution of the soul and rising up and inspiration and reinventing ourselves until we've had that Shambhala, that retreat, that stillness, that contemplation, that assessing and analysing from our heart and our feeling senses what's not aligned anymore and what is really coming from that mental egoic survival old paradigm that we've graduated from, that's no longer relevant or aligned to our soul's purpose, that doesn't bring us joy. Once we've done that, we've cleared that, we move then to this transformation. And this is where we are when we're in the foam of that painting, the foam, those currents carrying us in. It's not quite formed yet. We don't yet know what it's going to look like in physical reality. We can't quite step into it, but we know it's there. We know it's coming. We can feel it, but we're absorbing these cosmic colours. We're absorbing these light codes, the new programs that are through the heart and soul, and that inspire new action in a new way that's out of your comfort zone, that you don't know about yet because you're flying with wings rather than crawling with lots of little legs. So the other thing is that, just going back to this Virgo card, it's also ruled by Mercury. We're going on the 23rd of August, we're going into Mercury retrograde in Virgo. So Mercury rules Virgo, and it will be in Virgo, and it will be going backwards. So the reason it's going backwards is because it's reviewing that old stuff, and really with an analytical mind, like really fine-tooth comb, cleaning up, sweeping out everything from under the rug that's of the old world, that's of the old way. And that connects to this 8, the tornado next to it. Storm brewing, torn up, sudden unexpected end, violent, a total wreck, breakdown, liberate, over and done, the end. So we've got the end again. So we've got the world, which is graduation, completing of cycles, the end of everything you've been doing up until now. Supported by the end, again, the end of this season. Supported by the tornado, just like really pulling it up, clearing away everything that is over and done. Really, fully, 100%, the end, it is no more, it's gone. It's not supported by this transition, and the tornado is carrying you. And this connects to the part 1 as well, because we felt like a tornado, like we were in a spiral around a still point, and that was transporting us. Like the tornado transports in the Wizard of Oz, it transports, why can't I remember her name right now, Dorothy, over the rainbow into another world, right? And she has no access to her life. It was quite sudden, and she has this whole adventure and succeeds, but she has to learn a whole new world that is has different laws of physics. Just like this butterfly, from the caterpillar to the butterfly. So the last card, and this one is from the Shapeshifter Tarot deck, is the Wolves of Venice. You are far, far away from home. So again, this is like the Wizard of Oz Dorothy analogy. She's also far, far away from home, is in a new world, a new environment, a different culture. And I think it's a great analogy from a shift in timeline that we're going through. I'll just read you the card. You are far, far away from home. Farewell, my world. Again, the world card. Hello, strange times and places. What a journey we have had. How tired we all are. How awed by our new surroundings, this strange new world we find ourselves a part of. Yes, we've travelled. We're far from home and are wandering, lost, but oh so alive because of this delicious uncertainty. We're glad we've taken this strange path and accompanied you on this fascinating voyage into the unknown. We wish you to know, to understand that life is one long metamorphosis, changing shape and forms, transforming and changing, always seeking the authentic self and the close experience of who we truly are, which is to experience the divine. For a time, you lost your power. You even volunteered to give it up. For a time, the shaman guarded and embodied that power. Then you gave it away to those calling themselves priests or kings or emperors, hierophants and high priestesses. Now, more overwhelmed than ever, you're tempted to give it away to everyone: gurus, teachers, lawyers, officers, lovers, friends, fashion, drugs, alcohol, maps, guides. I'd like to add to that twin flames or soulmates in the Twin Flame Collective. This is really very much what twin flames are learning about, is not giving up their power to the other. Anyone, anything, rather than knowing our own power and being responsible for it. Do not do this. This world is strange, yet it is so beautiful. You have all that you need within you. The compass of your heart will guide you now. So that's going back to that connecting to self, connecting to higher purpose, connecting to our soul family in higher dimensions who are guiding us, who are informing us, and the wisdom of our own higher selves. Letting that really come through, being still enough to listen to it, and knowing that it will carry you like the currents in the picture through all those unformed waves where you can't see the shape yet, onto the shores. And that on those shores you will have all you need. I Akatata titakata koko. Akatata titakata tata. Akatati takato koto tokota titakata. Akatati titi takatakato. Akatata tata titakata koko koto koko. Akatata tata. Akatata titakataka toko koko 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 toko ko. Akatata titakaka. Akatata titakato koto 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 koto. I'm seeing the wolf, your friend. So I'm seeing the one behind her at the moment, looking out for her, keeping an eye on who's watching her, who's addressing her. Akatata. Dogs are loyal, unconditional, loving friends, and I see them in this situation as our soul family and our guides, our higher guides. She's got the mask off, so she no longer needs to show any resemblance of who she ever was before, that she had to be to fit into any structures or to survive. She now can survive truly in her authenticity of who she really is, openly, and be seen for it. In previous times in this planet, that was not safe to do so. Could have been burned as a witch, or had your head cut off, or anything for being different. Akatata titakata koko. Akatata titakaka koko to koko. Akatata okoko. Akatata titakaka. Okay, I'm seeing that tornado coming to an end and gently placing down everything that's been swirling in its spiral into a new place. A better place. Yeah. So landing, grounding the higher paradigm, the higher timeline. That feels really good. Okay, everybody. So thank you for staying to the end. You may benefit from watching part 1, especially if you are a twin flame or in a soul connection, as it's this is a continuation of that. That was a healing. So notice that anything that might come up for clearing from those codes dropping in will be anything where you're still living in the old way, under survival or others' expectations, or what you think you need to be doing rather than what's true to you. So that might come into your conscious awareness. You might get some anxiety or fears or voices telling you not to relax, not to be still, and not to open up to your higher intelligence, not to trust your own knowing, but to fall back on what is the old way of doing things. You might have fear of stepping into the new, into new areas that you're not confident in yet. You're essentially, in a way, a beginner in a new timeline, in a new way of living, in a new world, but you're not really, because you have all the expertise within you and it is embodied and it is grounded. So as long as you keep coming back to center, coming back to your higher consciousness, grounding, being still, connecting, listening to your intuition, listening to what you know, you actually know how to function in the higher timeline and in the new reality that's coming in for you now. So yeah, just listen to your body, drink a lot of water to help all of that move through, and I'll see you in the next transmission. Blessings, everybody.